Good afternoon, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining us. We are truly, truly excited to have you here today. And of course, today we're going to be talking about Interpretrain's three-step method and how you can apply that method. Today's main goal is going to be to help you study smart. We want you to gather all the tools that you need so you can get the most out of your study sessions, whether you're training with our materials or you're training on your own. So today we're going to talk about how to continue studying. Before we do that, I want to get into some logistics. You will, of course, have noticed that you are muted. We want to avoid cacophony. We want to avoid so many noises. Some people have their dog barking or their neighbors playing loud music. So we want to avoid all that. So we're going to be using the chat to communicate. You will be able to access the materials that we're going to be working with today during the class time. And of course, if you want to review them, you'll have the video to do so. I ask that you shut off all distractions. I want everybody to, whether it's closing your door or shutting off your phone or putting a sign on your door says, don't interrupt, anything you need to do to be here and fully be present without any interruption. Okay, first I want to learn a little bit about the group. As always, want to see who's joining us here today. So I would love to hear from you guys. First of all, I wanted to know what parts of the world are you joining us from? As you know, I'm in California. And I would love to know where you guys are. Somebody says Pennsylvania, Long Island, San Diego, Guatemala City, ooh, Houston, Mexico, Colorado, another Californian, New Jersey, Dubai, Chile, Las Vegas, Algeria, Gainesville, Florida, oh, my old stomping ground, Virginia, my namesake, San Francisco, awesome, you guys, Trinidad and Tobago, ooh, Colombia, awesome. Great. It's so good to see you guys joining us from all over the world. And Istanbul, Los Angeles, how exciting. Egypt. Great, great job. I'm so happy to see you guys. Ooh, another Colombian. I'm so happy that you guys are joining us. And then I want to pass on to know what fields of interpretation you work in. I am mostly, we have somebody from Peru who's now in Bournemouth. Okay, great, awesome. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that pronunciation, but now I want to find out what you guys are working with: immigration, community, medical, education, court and immigration. Ooh, we're going to be working with an immigration text today. Court and immigration, simul conferences, medical, legal. Awesome. State court. Cool. Remote video interpreting. Great. Okay, cool. And now I want to find out a little bit about your background, your education, like how many years you've been practicing. So let's go ahead and hear from 0 to 6 months. Go ahead and chime in. Those of you who have 0 experience to 6 months experience, use the chat. Don't be shy. We all had to begin somewhere. We don't have any true beginners? Oh, we do, Landy, welcome. Yes, we have a few, awesome. Okay, now let's go from 6 months to 1 year. Do we have anybody? 6 months to a year? Okay, nobody belongs to that bracket. Now let's go 1 year to 5, 1 to 5 years. Who has that? 3 years? Leonor, very good. Soma, awesome. 4 years, 1 to 5 years, perfect. Awesome. Somebody has more experience as a translator. Okay, great. Well, this course is going to really help you to train as an interpreter if you want to make that transition. Good job. And now we're going to go from 5 to 10. How many of you have been working? 6 years. Good job. 8 years. Very good. So we do have a few people. Okay. And now 10 to 15. 10 to 15, very good. Ooh, we have a bunch of people. Ooh, we have a very seasoned group. That's great. We're going to need all the help we need today. Today we're going to be working with vocabulary. So every experience that every one of you has is going to come in handy. Good job. Now, do I hear 10 to 15? I have been interpreting was from 2003, so that makes it 17 years. Let's hear, those of you who haven't chimed in yet, let's hear how many years you have. 16 years, Tram, that's awesome. 30 years plus, Leslie, ooh, that's great. Christopher, nice to hear you again. 30 years, 23 years. Ooh, do I hear more than 30 years? Anybody other than Leslie? 41 years. Good job, you guys. Oh, well, all that experience is really going to come in handy today. That's great, you guys. So I'm really happy that you're here today. We're going to be working, as I said, looking how to continue studying, how to apply the three-step method, whether you're working with our materials or not. So that's what we're going to go into today. Okay. And then finally, I want to hear something that you've been doing during this time that you haven't been doing before. I learned how to make a bread called soca. So I've been finding some new culinary treats that I had never experienced before. How about you guys? Have you picked up anything new? Any new hobbies? Homeschooling, yes. Working in my garden, nice. Yoga, gardening. English paper piecing, sancocho, ooh, that sounds delicious. Digital marketing, video interpreting, an oat bar. Oh, somebody's making oat bars. Veggie gardening, oh, that's wonderful. That's great. Learn salsa, ooh, that's great. So for those of you who are in a moment where you find yourself having extra time, and your finances are in order, and you don't have kids, this is a great, great time to push yourself and take advantage of that. For those of you who have a different scenario, whether it's you're busier than ever because you're homeschooling or you have a lot of responsibilities to work from home, or your finances aren't really in order, this might not be necessarily the best time to push yourself. Of course, I can't tell you what's best for you. You have to find out what's best for you. So it might be that you have less time than ever, your finances are a little in trouble, you're working really hard, but you still feel like you want to get started. That's fine. Don't let me tell you what you can and can't do. But for those of you who feel a little overwhelmed right now, if it's financial or time or whatever, just this is knowledge you're going to acquire. And then once this is all over, you're going to be able to apply this knowledge to get your goals, to really rock your goals and get to where you want to get to. So whether it's right now or later on, but I do urge you to be very generous with yourself, very kind to yourself. Don't be too demanding. If right now it's a challenging time, I know there's an abysmal difference between people who have kids that are home age and people who don't. So if you are one of those people that are working harder than ever now, this might be a time to be very good to yourself and be very generous with yourself. And all of this knowledge you will be able to apply later. Okay? Good job. I'm so happy to hear from everyone. Now, I do see that on our chat, we have some doodles that have come on the board. Let's see if I can go ahead and get rid of those. I don't know if maybe Brad can help me clear that stuff up.
I can't get rid of that doodle.
No? Let me see if I can. Let's see if my whiteboard, I'm going to go to the whiteboard and I'm going to go ahead and say clear. Oh, my whiteboard is clear already. So if you go to whiteboard, maybe we'll be able to get rid of it. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Awesome. We are ready to go. Thank you, Brad. Okay, so we're going to do a very, very, very quick breathing exercise. We're going to make it super, super quick because we have a lot to cover today and I'm afraid we won't be able to get to all of it. So we're going to do just a grounding exercise. We're going to go ahead and make sure that both feet are on the ground. We're going to go ahead and make sure that our arms are rested either on the armchairs or on our lap, wherever we feel comfortable. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and take a deep breath. Every breath, we're going to inflate the stomach, then the chest, and then we're going to deflate the chest, then the stomach. Here we go. First breath, inhale, tummy, then chest. Now exhale. Now we're going to take a full body scan as we inhale. You're going to go ahead and plant your feet. As you exhale, I want you to relax your feet. Make sure there's no tension in your feet. Now we're going to inhale, do the same thing with our calves. Here we go. As you exhale, I want you to feel your calves and just be very mindful of how your calves are feeling. Now we're going to go ahead and inhale again. We're going to do our knees and our thighs. Inhale. As you exhale, go ahead and feel your thighs. How are they feeling on that chair? Are they tense? Are you crossing them? They should be parallel to each other. Now we're going to go ahead and do our pelvis. Inhale. As you exhale, let the air go and try to have everything nice and loose. Now we're going to go ahead and do our buttocks first. So inhale. Exhale, relax. Let it drop into the chair. Very good. Now we're going to do our belly. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do our back. Just try to trace your whole back. See if you find any tension and let it go as we inhale. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale, relax the back. Now we're going to do our chest. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to go ahead and do our shoulders and our neck together. Just be mindful of them and try to relax them, let them drop. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale. Good job. Now we're going to do our arms. Ready? Inhale. Exhale, drop the arms, let them go. Very good. We're going to do the neck and then the head and we're done. Here we go. Inhale, neck. Exhale, just drop the shoulders. Make sure the neck is nice and relaxed. And finally, we're going to do the whole head. We're going to focus on the forehead, on making sure that we're not squeezing the forehead. Here we go. Inhale. And exhale. Let it go. Good job. Just a little grounding exercise so we can absorb the information better. So as I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about Interpretrain's three-step method and how to apply it on your own. As we saw previously, the first thing that you do is you cover the vocabulary. Can somebody use the chat and tell me why we use why we do the vocabulary up front? Why is it so important for that to be your first step, to tackle the vocabulary up front? Go ahead and use the chat. Let me know. So that it doesn't trip us up, so that we're prepared, so that we don't trip. Very good, you guys. So we want to make sure that we get the vocabulary out of the way. So when we get to the second step, which is going to be the actual interpretation, we can actually work on skill building. We're not going to have any unknown issues messing with our flow. Okay, so once we're familiar with the vocab, we can go ahead and focus on the interpretation. If it's simultaneous, try to go fast enough. If it's consecutive, try to have memory retention. If it's sight, have reading comprehension. And the unknown vocabulary is not going to impede with the skill development that is required in the interpretation. Once we finish the interpretation, then we move on to the evaluation. And evaluations are so important. Who can tell me why evaluations are so important? Why is that third step so valuable to us? Of course, I neglected to mention in step number 2, we're doing something. We're not just interpreting. Taste the soup, Garvin says. Yes, I like to talk about when a chef is cooking, you have to constantly taste what you're making, because you're only going to know what it tastes like if you actually put it in your mouth. A reality check, Christopher, yes. When you're interpreting in step number 2 in your voice recording, you don't have the wherewithal mentally to also assess your performance. There's no way you're going to be able to objectively know how you're doing during step 2. So that's why we record ourselves, and then in step 3, we compare what we said, our own audio, with what? What do we compare our audio with? As we listen to our own interpretation, we're going to be following along. Very good, Janet, the transcript. So we're going to be listening to ourselves as we follow along with the transcript. So those are the 3 steps that we're going to be applying today, and we're going to be applying it to a material that's not Interpretrain's materials, so we can go ahead and empower you to study, whether it's with us or without us. Today, I want to talk about something really important that most of us do and stop there, but I really think the 3-step method is very important to combine it with this. This is what we call blind runs. Now, when I had already created the method, we had the fortune of counting on Athena Matilski. She is our method coordinator. And she's a seasoned interpreter. She's a conference interpreter. She trains interpreters. She offers her services through Sky Interpreting, and she's really a magnificent interpreter and teacher. And when she looked at our material, she was like, this is awesome. People are going to get so much. This three-step method lays it out for them. They're going to really learn the vocab up front. They're going to have be able to develop all their skills. They're going to get a score. And she said, what I'm worried about is your students getting a little pampered, getting a little spoiled. And then they're not going to know what to do when a vocabulary term comes along and they don't know it. And that's why she suggested that we do blind runs. Okay. So Jadida says Athena rocks. She indeed does. She's awesome. Okay, so a blind run. Who can tell me what a blind run is? We covered it last time, and this is the first activity we're going to be doing today, is a blind run. Who can tell me what is a blind run? The first stab, the test. It's similar to the test because you don't have time to prepare anything in advance. You interpret it without reviewing the vocab. Very good, Janet. That nails it in the head. So interpreting without learning the vocabulary ahead of time is what we call the blind run, is what most of us do when we don't apply the three-step method. I want you to continue doing that with each practice. Before you even go into the third-step method, don't get spoiled. You need to be able to learn what to do with vocab that you're not familiar with. So you're going to do a blind run. And that's what we're going to be doing here today. Okay? So blind runs are great for your training because they prepare you to handle the unexpected. So when you go to a test and you haven't had the chance to look at the vocabulary ahead of time, you've already trained yourself. What am I going to do when I bump into a word I don't know? And let's answer that question, because the first activity we're going to be doing today is the blind run. So what is it that we do when we're on a test, not in real life, because it's two different protocols. When we're on a test and we bump into a word we're not fully familiar with, we improvise. Very good, Leda. And how do we improvise? We keep going. There's two different things we can do. We can either, if we think we know what that word means, but we don't know the exact meaning, we can do what Holly Nicholson calls unwrapping the package, which is using several words to describe a concept. So let's say I wasn't able to remember the word pen. I could say instrument to write with and move on. Just try to, get the meaning, the gist of the meaning and move on. It's an educated guess. Very good, Elizabeth. You get some context clues. Very good, Jana. So we get clues from the context, or we might know that word from before, but we don't remember the equivalent in the target language. We try to do the best we can and we move on. What's another thing that we can do if we're absolutely drawing a blank? We have no clue what this word means. What do? You can skip it. And don't freak out when you do this in a test, because remember, you're going to have many scoring units. The scoring units are when the transcript has certain words they've selected, that those are the ones you have to get. And those are the ones they're going to grade. If you look, we're going to be looking at that today. Look at a transcript, they've chosen ahead of time which are the words that you have to get. And once you do that, you realize not all of the words are scoring units. So I might have just skipped a word that is not a scoring unit. So don't freak out about, oh my God, I skipped that word. Don't worry about it. Sidoni says that she cries. Okay. Will it be okay in the federal to skip? Yes, you have to skip certain things that you don't know. Why do we skip things that we don't know? What are the advantages of skipping something that we don't know? Who can use the chat to tell me? What do we get out of skipping it? Very good. You keep concentrating. It wasn't delay you. Imagine that you have 5 scoring units. And the first scoring unit that comes up, remember, this is the word in the transcript that you have to get. So let's say that the passage was, "Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, counselor. I'm here on behalf of my client." And let's say the first word they want you to get is Your Honor. Good morning doesn't matter. It might be a scoring unit and it might not. Let's say it is and you don't know how to say Your Honor. You do your best, let's say juez, and you move on, all right? Now, the second scoring unit, you do know it. But if you had gotten stuck on the first one, you wouldn't have gotten the second one that you do know. So that's why it's so important not to get stuck on the ones that you don't know. And often think that you're not going to be able to get all of them. This is a test. You're most likely not going to get a perfect score. So if you miss 1 or 2, it's not an issue. Athena, again, whom we mentioned earlier from Sky Interpreting, she talks about when you go to a test, expect 5 words you don't know. Expect 5 scoring units off the bat that you're not going to know. So when you bump into the first one, you go, okay, here's the first one, and you move on. When you bump into the second one, the same thing. And you're not gonna freak out, because if you skip 5 scoring units, you're still gonna get the ones that you do know. So don't freak out about that, okay? So that's what blinds run are. Most of people who study and don't apply the 3rd step method only do blind runs, and they only get to the very tip of that practice. They don't really take advantage of the full practice, of everything that practice has to offer. I like to talk about squeezing every last drop out of that lemon that is the practice. So if you're only doing a blind run and you're stopping, you're only getting 1 or 2 drops out of that lemon, okay? It's almost like saying, I'm gonna read this book and sticking it under your pillow and thinking that's gonna do the trick. If you don't take that book from under your pillow and actually read it and flip through the pages and pass your eyes through the text, you're not going to absorb what's in that book just because you stuck it under your pillow. So it's almost the same thing to only do a blind run and nothing else, okay? All right, so here we go. Being able to handle unforeseen terms is crucial when taking a test. It allows you not to freeze and to keep interpreting no matter what comes your way. And now we're going to look at how to continue studying, okay? Okay, here we go. So, the first thing that you're going to do when you're going to study, if you're going to study with our material, of course you skip this step because you already chose our material. But if you're not going to study with our material, let's say you want to study with free material, we're going to give you lots of leads to free material. First thing I want you to do is to pick a study material, okay? The first thing you got to notice is that it's got to have audio. It's got to have audio, and it's got to have the transcript, because of course your audio is step 2 and the transcript is going to be step 3, and you need those 2 things, okay? And you're going to make sure that that it has vocabulary that is challenging to you, vocabulary that you're going to learn stuff from, okay? I want you to check out our blog because we have so many free resources that we offer you guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share for one moment because I do want to walk you guys through our blog. And it really is worthwhile mentioning because you can get a lot out of it. So we're going to go ahead and share the desktop. And here we are. Can everyone see my desktop? Beautiful. So here we are. You're obviously going to go to interprettrain.com. And if you did it on your phone, you're going to notice that these 3 little horizontal lines are going to come up here. When you click on these 3 little horizontal lines, this menu is going to pop up. And you're going to go into our interpreter training blog, okay? If you go into our interpreter training blog, you'll notice that we're constantly posting chord vocabulary, we're posting the recordings for this practice, we're posting terminology, we're posting weapons vocabulary, ideas about ethics and protocol, ways to cite translate, motivational videos, free practices, free samples, okay? So we're constantly posting information on there, of course, completely free, that you can use to go ahead and study or just become a better interpreter. So I really, really want you guys to visit our website and our blog. So let me go back to my presentation. Here we go. So in our blog, we offer you a bunch of free stuff that I know you're gonna love. One of the things that you're going to notice when you visit our blog is that the New Jersey courts have free interpreting practices, and we have posted those practices on our website, okay? Whoops, let me go back to where I was. Here we go. Sorry, you guys. Okay, here we go. So it's going to offer you instructions, audio materials, transcriptions, and grading materials. So it's very complete. We posted that on our blog. We also have offered an exam test. So we're giving you a sample test of our material. You can use it to work with your consecutive, your simul, and you'll be able to grade yourself. And what we're going to be working with today is interpreter training practices. These are practices that were put up by the Supreme Court. So they offer the 2 things we're looking for. They offer the audio recordings and they offer the transcripts. That's what you need. You need material that offers both of those things. And that's what we got here. So now we're going to do a blind run. We're going to take 3 deep breaths before we do this blind run. and I'm going to go ahead and share it with you guys. Let me go back to this, where we were, here in our page. I'm still in our blog.
You went into the matrix.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Sorry. Let me go ahead and minimize this. Let me go ahead and stop my share. Make sure that I have
Now we see you again.
the desktop. Now you should be seeing what I'm seeing.
Perfect.
You do? Okay. Now let's go ahead and locate the Supreme Court practices. Okay, here we go. Court interpreter training practices by the Supreme Court. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. You'll notice that we have the voice recordings and the transcripts. We're going to go ahead and click on the voice recordings. And we are going today to be working on a specific one, which is the Department of Homeland Security versus Thuraissigiam. I'm sure I butchered that poor person's name.
Very good. Hey, Virginia.
Yes.
What would you say the difficulty level of this is going to be?
I would definitely put it on a 3 from a 1 to 5.
Okay.
Let me just make sure I share with my computer sound, or else it's not going to make any sense to you guys. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a practice that you're going to be doing just as a blind run. So I don't want you to freak out. We're going to do it simultaneously first. Our blind run is going to be simultaneous. Some of you will feel comfortable if you have a notepad. So go ahead and get your notepad and your pen if you want to write numbers, if you want to write names. Sometimes it's good to have like a little cheat sheet. You can also rip out the page or have a little sticky note where you write down things that are coming up often. Some people like to doodle as they do simultaneous interpretations, but whatever you're doing, I want you to get your voice recorder ready. I want you to make sure that you're comfortable. I want you to make sure that you're in a place where you're not going to be bothered or distracted by any kinds of noises or interruptions. We're going to go ahead and begin this practice. You're going to begin interpreting from the very beginning, okay? So everybody have your voice recorder ready.
Virginia?
Yes?
Did you share the sound in the...
No, I'm going to right now.
Okay, great.
I'm going to right now.
And how long is this segment, how long are we going to interpret for?
We're going to be doing this practice from 5 to 7 minutes. It should be around 7 minutes long.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're going to be doing simultaneous, meaning as you listen to it, you're going to be interpreting. Remember, this is your blind run, so don't stress over what you don't know. If you don't know a word, you can either say it in the same language or skip it. Or if you think you know it, try to do your best and move on, okay? Everybody have your voice recorder ready? And you're gonna record immediately. Here we go.
We'll hear argument next in case 19-161, the Department of Homeland Security versus Thuraissigiam. Mr. Needler.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court. Congress established the expedited removal system in 1996 for aliens who arrive at our borders or enter illegally and have no entry documents. Such aliens are clearly inadmissible and have no right to be in this country. Congress reasonably concluded that a full-blown removal hearing was not necessary to make that determination. Congress was also concerned, however, about the possibility for delay and abuse of the asylum system if every time such a clearly inadmissible alien sought asylum. What it did then was to provide for a 3-tiered administrative screening system to first determine whether the alien had a credible fear of persecution. Respondent contends that the suspension clause requires a fact-laden judicial review of the negative credible fear determination made in that screening process. Congress, however, while it preserved habeas corpus, tailored it to the special circumstances of expedited removal by limiting it to whether the alien is eligible for expedited removal and whether such an order was entered. Congress's judgment that that approach was necessary for the control of immigration and control of the borders is entitled to great weight, and it is consistent with the suspension clause. First, Congress has repeatedly said that an alien seeking admission is entitled only to the procedures Congress has provided. And it is held for more than 100 years that Congress may vest the determination of whether an individual alien is excludable in an executive officer. Indeed, it said that a determination by such an officer acting within his jurisdiction is due process for purposes of the Constitution. And when such an order is issued under this system, that expedited removal order establishes the government's right to detain him. A fortiori, that is true when you have a situation involving an inadmissible alien who seeks review of a negative screening determination for possible relief from removal, notwithstanding his inadmissibility.
Mr. Needler, it's one thing when an alien comes and has no protected ground to stay here. There's no legal right to stay. And so expedited proceedings are okay because they have no right to be here. But when someone's seeking asylum, they have a statutory right to stay if they meet the elements of the statute. So that's a vastly different question of whether the suspension clause, which predated the due process clause by 100 years, the suspension clause at the time it was viewed as permitting anyone who had a legal claim to stay to file a habeas petition. I don't know how that right all of a sudden gets transformed merely because there's a second constitutional right to due process. Well, meaning those are two different provisions of the Constitution. One predated the other. And the finality era cases were very clear. If you have a claimed right to be in the United States, whether you're on the shore from a boat that's landed or you're from Puerto Rico and you think that your citizenship gives you a right to come in, a whole slew of cases from the finality era under the suspension clause who said you have a habeas right. So I don't know how that's the same thing. You assume the person has no clear right, but they do have a right to stay if they meet the criteria of the Asylum Act.
So, several responses to that. Those finality era cases all uniformly hold that a court may not review the determination in an individual case whether the alien has satisfied the conditions for removal, and the court has held that Congress may vest that determination in an executive officer, and that is sufficient. And for habeas corpus purposes, that sufficient determination establishes the executive's power to detain the individual.
Suppose that Congress passed a law which said, we'll make it an alien who has been here for some time, but perhaps illegally, walking down the street, and an officer picks him up and puts him in prison. And he would like to say to a court, Judge, the officer was wrong on the law. He has no such right.
All right, you guys, let's use the chat to see how that went. Okay, it's just a blind run. Okay, the first utterance was really fast. Yeah, it was very tough, very hard, very terrible, very difficult, very crazy. Oh my God, too fast. Very technical, very hard, exhausting, lots of new terms. Okay, you guys, I don't want you to despair. We're going to take it step by step, okay? And we will get through this together, okay? We will find a way to nail this 5 minutes and 31 seconds of practice, okay? We're going to apply the three-step method, and you're going to see how you're going to rock this, okay? Let's go ahead and take our voice recording, and we're going to compare it with the transcript. So as you saw here, we have, oh, did I get out of, I mistakenly got out of our web page. Okay, interprettrain.com, and we're back in. Okay, so as you saw, they have transcripts. Okay, so I've already downloaded this transcript, but we're going to go ahead and see where we would find this if you weren't doing it with me. You would go to the interpreter training blog. Remember, there are these little horizontal lines here. If you're doing it on your phone, you would click on that. This menu opens up, interpreter training blog. I think it's on page number 2, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to go ahead and go to page number 2. And maybe it was page 3. Yeah, here we go. It's the court interpreter training practices from the Supreme Court. And you're going to go here. For those of you who can, you're going to go ahead and go to this website, go to our website if you want to print it. Of course, I'm going to display it on the screen, but if you want to print it, you would go to the transcripts. And again, we're working with this case, Department of Homeland Security. You would click here, and you would have the option to download that PDF right here, okay, in this little arrow going down, and that gives you the actual transcript, which is what we're going to need. But I have that already ready for you guys, because that's what an awesome teacher I am. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and listen to ourselves as we go ahead and compare it to this transcript. Okay, now we got started right here. Go ahead and listen to your audio. Don't worry about these underlines. These are scoring units that I'm suggesting that we choose. What I'm going to do is I want you to use the chat, play your recording, and follow along with the transcript. When you're finished looking at this page, I want you to go ahead and let me know. Is that legible, you guys, or do you need that to be a little bigger? We need to go page by page. If you could use the chat, let me know. If you guys can read this, I'll keep it. If you guys can't read this, then I'll have to. Bigger, please. Okay, let's do page by page. Let's go back here.
Yeah, and if you go full screen on your Zoom browser.
When I did that, when I did enter full screen.
From the student's point of view,
oh, from the student's point of view.
That's good.
Yeah, when I do that on the student's
good.
one, it gets a little bit to be too much. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be super, super, super patient, and you're going to go ahead and listen to yourself as you compare what you said to what's written here. And I don't want you to worry about these things that are underlined. Right now we're just comparing. And I want you to tell me when you're done with this page, I want you to use the chat to tell me that you need me to scroll down a little bit more. And be patient if I don't do it immediately, because we do have a few people here today and some people need a little more time than others, okay? So go ahead and begin your recording and compare it to the text. All right, you guys, use the chat. I think this is where we left off, right? This is where the practice cut off. Use the chat to let me know. Go ahead. Let me know if this is how far you got. Am I missing any text? Were you able to compare your full audio? There's more? Oh, wow. Okay, let me go ahead and share more with you guys. I thought we had cut off here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. Great. Somebody compared it with the online PDF. That's even better. If you can go ahead and go online and compare it, then you can go at your own pace. Okay. Okay. So are we missing anything else? Okay. Okay. Okay, how was that? I think we finished though. I think we didn't go longer than this. Please use the chat. Let me know if I'm wrong, because I thought we had finished earlier. Okay, cool. So we're finished. Okay, cool. All right. So as I mentioned before, the trouble that you're having right now, which is that I'm not scrolling at everybody's speed, then you're not going to have that trouble if you go ahead and open up a separate window and use the PDF file from our blog. Okay.
Virginia, I put the PDF file in the chat.
Oh, beautiful, you guys. You can go ahead and use this. Go ahead and use this link that Brad has shared in the try not to write anything else for a moment in the chat so we won't scroll down. We won't lose what Brad has put up. You can use that chat to go ahead and do it, and then you could do it at your own pace. Okay, you guys? We're going to do this practice one more time, but this time we're going to go ahead and do it slowlier. Okay, now before we do that, I want somebody to use the chat. Let me know, what was the last thing that you heard in your interpreting practice? What were the last words uttered? If somebody can go ahead and check their own practice and say to us, what was the last thing? So I'll know exactly where to go, how far to go in. I thought I knew, but I guess I was wrong. Anybody in the chat can tell me? Line 15 right here, put him in prison. Line number 10, in prison. Okay, perfect. Line number 10, and just so I know, this is page number, let me get rid of this so I can see. We're doing line number 10, in prison, for page number 7. Okay, so we're in, the last thing I want you to check is in page number 7 of this PDF, and it's going to end in line number 10, in prison. That's going to be the last thing you're going to do. Okay, most of you were complaining that this practice was very, very fast. So now we're going to go ahead and slow it down. We have actually shared with you guys in our blog, because our blog is so awesome, we shared with you guys technology that lets you take any MP3 that you download, any MP3 that you have available, and you can go ahead and put it into a special technology that slows down the practice. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to listen to the exact same practice, and Brad has shared that particular technology again on the chat. Brad is so incredibly awesome, and this is also in our blog. Okay, so we're going to do the same practice again. Brad is going to be sharing with you guys the slowed down version, and you're going to do the same thing that we did. Okay, and we're going to let it go until we hear, suppose the Congress passed the law, and gets to in prison. Once we hear in prison, we're going to stop it for you guys. And, oh, somebody says page not found.
Yeah, I reposted the link. It should work now.
Okay, you should use the last one that Brad put up. Use the second link. Thank you, Sheila. And thank you, Brad, for being so awesome. Okay, so go ahead, Brad, and share that with us. Have your voice recorder ready. I'm going to stop my share. And we're going to do it again at a slower speed. Sorry, you guys. We just want to make sure that everything is nice and audible. Have your voice recorder ready.
Congress established the expedited removal system in 1996 for aliens who arrive at our borders or enter illegally and have no entry documents. Such aliens are clearly inadmissible and have no right to be in this country. Congress reasonably concluded that a full-blown removal hearing was not necessary to make that determination. Congress was also concerned, however.
Okay, you guys, we're going to start it one more time. We're going to start it one more time. Get your voice recorder ready one more time. We're going to make sure that you guys have it so it's at a nice pace. Get your voice recorder going now and begin voice recording.
19161, the Department of Homeland Security versus Throssingum. Mr. Needler?
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court. Congress established the expedited removal system in 1996 for aliens who arrive at our borders or enter illegally and have no entry documents. Such aliens are clearly inadmissible and have no right to be in this country. Congress reasonably concluded that a full-blown removal hearing was not necessary to make that determination. Congress was also concerned, however, about the possibility for delay and abuse of the asylum system if every time such a clearly inadmissible alien sought asylum. What it did then was to provide for a three-tiered administrative screening system to first determine whether persecution. Respondent contends that the suspension clause requires a fact-laden judicial review of the negative fear, credible fear determination made in that screening process. Congress, however, while it preserved habeas corpus, tailored it to the special circumstances of expedited removal by limiting it to whether the alien is eligible for expedited removal and whether such an order was entered. Congress's judgment that approach was necessary for the control of immigration and control of the borders is entitled to great weight, and it is consistent with the suspension clause. First, Congress has repeatedly said that an alien seeking admission is entitled only to the procedures Congress has provided. And it is held for more than 100 years that Congress may vest the determination of whether an individual alien is excludable in an executive officer. Indeed, it said that a determination by such an officer acting within his jurisdiction is due process for purposes of the Constitution. And when such an order is issued under this system, that expedited removal order establishes the government's right to detain him. A fortiori, that is true when you have a situation involving an inadmissible alien who seeks review of a negative screening determination for possible relief from removal, notwithstanding his inadmissibility.
Mr. Needler, it's one thing when an alien comes and has no protected ground to stay here. There's no legal right to stay. And so expedited proceedings are okay because they have no right to be here. But when someone's seeking asylum, they have a statutory right to stay if they meet the elements of the statute. So that's a vastly different question of whether the suspension clause, which predated the due process clause by 100 years, the suspension clause at the time it was viewed as permitting anyone who had a legal claim to stay to file a habeas petition. I don't know how that right all of a sudden gets transformed merely because there's a second constitutional right to due process. Well, meaning those are two different provisions of the Constitution. One predated the other. And the finality era cases were very clear. If you have a claimed right to be in the United States, whether you're on the shore from a boat that's landed or you're from Puerto Rico and you think that your citizenship gives you a right to come in, a whole slew of cases from the finality era under the suspension clause who said you have a habeas right. So I don't know how that's the same thing. You assume the person has no clear right, but they do have a right to stay if they meet the criteria of the Asylum Act.
Several responses to that. Those finality era cases all uniformly hold that a court may not review the determination in an individual case whether the alien has satisfied the conditions for removal. And the court has held that Congress may vest that determination in an executive officer, and that is sufficient. And for habeas corpus purposes, that sufficient determination establishes the executive's power to detain the individual.
Suppose that Congress passed a law which said, make it an alien who has been here for some time, but perhaps illegally, walking down the street, and an officer picks him up and puts him in prison.
Good job, you guys. Use the chat to let me know how that went. How did that go? Better? Very good. Much better. Good job, you guys. Okay, so if you're working with our labs, we have slowed down versions and then we get to quicker versions. So we progressively work you through this. If you're not working with our labs, then you're going to use that link or you visit our blog and we tell you how to slow it down. Okay, so it is now 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and take a little stretch before we move on to the 3-step method. I know I need it. We're going to go ahead and get up and stretch our arms. Good job. We're going to take 3 more arm stretches. Up, inhale, down, exhale, up, inhale, down, exhale. One more. Up, inhale, down, exhale. Those of you who have babies in your laps, don't stand up. Very good. Now we're going to go ahead and do a shoulder exercise. Up, inhaling, down, exhaling, up, down, up, down. One more. Up, down. We're going to do some neck exercises. Let's hope I don't lose my headphones this time. We're going to neck circles to the right and then neck circles to the left. Good job, you guys. Now we're going to go ahead and do our waist. We go ahead and do some circles with our waist to the right, 2 and 3. And then the other side, 1, 2, and 3. Good job. Now we're going to go ahead and do some leg exercises. Get your legs in a 90-degree angle and rotate your knees. Give it one rotation to the left. Now 3 circles to the right. And the ankle, rotate your ankle to the right. Rotate your ankle to the left. Now we're going to do the other leg. Go ahead at 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3. The other side. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do the ankles. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And finally our wrist that works so hard with these computers and these keyboards. Good job, you guys. Okay, so now we're back. So it's much nicer when people speak at a human speed, isn't it? I have the fantasy that some of these fast speaking attorneys and judges, if they make it to purgatory, they have to spend an eternity doing shadow interpretation, shadow exercises with really fast demon speakers. So that's my fantasy. I wish we could use this technology to put it in people's mouths and have the speech come out at that nice little pace. But of course, you can always ask people to slow down, and you should. You should never be ashamed to ask for people to slow down, okay? All right, you guys, so that's how it was when it was slowed down. Nice and slow. We got a little bit of a rhythm going. Remember, if you work with our materials where we slow down your practices, if you're working on your own, you're going to use that technology to slow them down, okay? Cool. Now let's go back to our presentation. Go to my desktop and beautiful. Okay, so let me go ahead and make it full screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now we did the previous thing that we did was we did a blind run. Remember, we chose the material. That was the Supreme Court. We did the blind run. We can even slow it down. You can go ahead and listen to yourself. We're not going to listen to ourselves this second time because we don't have a lot of time. So we're not going to listen to ourselves, but you can go ahead and do several blind runs if you want, and then listen to yourself. I want you to use the chat and tell me, what are the advantages of listening to your blind run? Use the chat to let me know. Why should we listen to our blind runs? Anybody? You correct your mistakes. You see what you missed. You notice little tricks, how bad you are. You know where you got stuck. Perfect. You get to see where your weaknesses lie. So when you listen to your blind run, you know exactly what you're looking for. You know exactly what mistakes you're trying to correct. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, the third thing, again, we already listened to our blind run once. It was really fast, so we might have not gotten, but we don't have enough time to listen to it again. Then we move on to the next step. We're going to skim the transcript for unknown vocab, but now we've opened up our own appetite. The blind run has opened up our appetite. We know which words we tripped up with, okay? And now we're going to go after those words. So we're going to skim the transcript, and we're going to research the vocab of anything that we find. You know what? I don't know how, I didn't know how to deal with this. I didn't know how to deal with that. That's what we're going to do together. Now, I don't want you guys to freak out. I'm not an immigration interpreter, so there's many terms I don't know. We're going to rely on the community that's here with us today to help us with some of these terms. If we can't find the term, we're not going to stress out. We're just trying to learn the method, okay? So we're going to go with the flow, and we're not going to freak out, okay? Very good. So here we go. Now we're going to go into our transcript. I'm going to share it with you guys, and together we're going to decide what gets chosen. And of course, we know we're going to be finishing in page number 7 in prison, okay? So here we go. Let's go back to where it gets started. Okay, now, the first term I decided we should do was Chief Justice. Who can use the chat and tell me what we can do with this Chief Justice? How can we interpret that? Juez, there's a very specific, Presidente del Tribunal Supremo. Good job, you guys. Presidente del Tribunal Supremo is absolutely the right way. So I want you to go ahead and take a paper, and I want you to write down Chief Justice. For those of you who speak English, you're going to say Presidente del Tribunal Supremo. For those, which is basically like President of the Supreme Court, okay? For those of you who do not speak English, you're going to go ahead and research that term. Now, I recommend that you go with word ref. Word ref, if you have a dictionary, glossary that you trust, you're gonna go with something else. But we're going to go with word ref for now, okay? Now, I think Zainab shared her Arabic. Nice, you guys. If you have another language, go ahead and share how you would say this. So this is going to be our first scoring unit. You're going to write it down on a piece of paper. Oh, I wrote Supremo. Okay. Very good. Presidente del Tribunal Supremo. Good job, you guys. Now, the next one is expedited. Who can help me out with this one? Expedited. Expedited. Which should be agilizado. Good job, Paula. Agilizado. And I want you guys to go ahead, agilizado or right? And remember, agilizado. Very good. Oh, I have terrible typing skills. Okay, you guys. So for those of you who have other terms, I want you to go ahead and look for it. Okay? Now, how about removal? What do you guys want to do about removal? Removal system. Expulsión. Good job, you guys. So we're going to go ahead, go right here next to removal, and we're going to write expulsión. For those of you who have another language, I want you guys to go ahead and find other equivalents for that word, okay? And share it in the text. Expulsión. And it accepted my tilde, which I'm very happy about. Okay. And that's removal. Good job, you guys. Okay. Let me see if I can. I thought I was going to be able to make it another color, but okay. Now I want you guys to go with the next one. What is the next one? The next one that I think would work is aliens. What do we do about aliens? Good job, Sheila. Extranjero. Very good, you guys. So alien is going to be extranjero. Okay. I had the ability to underline before. Here we go. Got it, and removal. So then I want you to go ahead and write these down. Remember, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Agilizado should have a number 2. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper because you're going to need it. And expulsión is going to have a number 3, removal. So I want you to write down both the original word and the translation that we're choosing. So in this case, Chief Justice should be on your page, and then it should say Presidente del Tribunal Supremo, expedited, and then the translation. Removal, and then I want you to write all of these, okay? So alien, we talked about extranjero, okay? And that's exactly what you're going to write here. And for those of you who have another language, I want you to go ahead and share. And I see you're already doing that. Beautiful. Okay, and that would be 4, extranjero. Good job. Okay, how about borders, you guys? How would you say borders? Frontera. Good job. I like working with such smart people. We have number 5, frontera. And you're not just watching passively here, you're making sure you get your glossary down because you're going to need that glossary to study for step 2. Okay. How about entry documents? Entry documents. Oh, in this case, it would be fronteras, but we're just going to take the singular form. Documento de ingreso. Good job, you guys. So you're going to go ahead and write on your page. You're going to go ahead and write entry document. And that's going to be number 6. We're going to go ahead and call this documento de ingreso. This is 6. And you should be writing this too. Okay, beautiful. All right. How about inadmissible? Does that stays the same? Inadmisible, very good. Any other words you guys? How about full blown? Check out the context before we try to get it. Congress recently concluded that a full blown removal hearing, full blown, completa. Very good, you guys. I love groups like this that are so brilliant. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and write 7. Completo or completa. Okay? And that's going to be our next vocabulary unit. I want you guys to keep up. You're going to be writing this. I want you to go ahead and have your notepad and have all these things down there. Beautiful. Okay. How about a removal hearing? How about remoción? Okay. What about another one? It starts with EX. Expulsión. Good job, you guys. I have seen remoción. I prefer expulsión, so I'm going to go with that one. Good job, you guys. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be our number 8. Audiencia de expulsión. And I missed the E just to make sure you guys are paying attention. No, I'm kidding. I'm a terrible typist. Okay, very good. Okay, now, necessary to make that determination. Congress was also concerned, however, about the possibility of a delay. What would you guys do with delay? Retraso. Good job. Good job, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and make that our number 9. Everyone's taking notes here. I don't want you just looking at the screen. Retraso. I wrote retraso just to see if you're paying attention. Okay, here we go. So that would be our number 9, delay. Good job. Okay, asylum system. If every time such a clearly inadmissible alien sought asylum. What about asylum? Oh, retrasos with an S. Thank you. You are correct. That was horrible. I was just doing that to check you, okay? I have impeccable spelling. No, I'm kidding. I forgot about that one. Okay, asylum, asylum, asilo. Good job, you guys. Asilo. And we're going to go ahead and make that scoring unit number 10. Everybody should be taking notes. I don't want you just looking at my horrible spelling mistakes without taking notes. 10, asilo. Good job. And we're going to try to make this a little bit bigger. Beautiful. Every time such a clearly inadmissible, inadmissible, we said, sought asylum. Okay. What it did was to provide for a three-tiered. What is three-tier? Demora would be good for delay. What is 3 tiers? De 3 etapas, de 3 niveles, de 3 pasos. Very good. 3 pasos. I'm going to go with 3 pasos, okay? With 3 steps, 3 pasos. And I want you guys to go ahead and ask for other things. 3 niveles might be 3 puntos also, okay? So that's going to be our scoring unit number 11. 3. Let's go with niveles because it doesn't necessarily have to be sequential and pasos is, okay? So go ahead and put it over here. 3 niveles, 3-tiered administrative screening. What would we do with screening, you guys? Sondeo, okay, escaneo, revisión, control, filtro, very good. I had looked it up and I heard and I had seen sistema de selección. Sistema de selección o de filtración. Clasificación is good. I like selección for screening, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and go with our text. Sistema de evaluación, okay. I'm gonna go with selección. You guys can choose whatever you want. and write it down. Here we go. 12, selección con tilde en la O, and I got it. Very good. And now we're going to go to our next one. The system to first determine whether an alien had a credible fear. What is credible fear? Un miedo creíble, un temor creíble. Very good, you guys. Very good. So we're going to go with credible fear. We're going to underline it. We're going to go to the text over here. And we're going to go ahead and say, oh, I got 2 text bubbles out of 1. Okay. This is number 13. Miedo creíble. And of course, I had to type it wrong. Very good. And then we go ahead and move it over here. Awesome. And we get rid of this guy because we didn't need him. Very good. Were there any ones I missed on this page? Go ahead and quickly take a look at this page, anybody, before we get moving on this. I want you to look at this page. Tell me if there's anything I'm missing. Oops. This was the beginning. Give it one last read. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Let me know if there's anything that needs a little more. Provide, the word provide. Could you tell me which line that is? Which line you see the word provide? Persecución. Persecución for persecution, very good. Where somebody said provide. Which line do you see provide in? I don't see it. Oh, provide for. Okay. So in this case, what it did was to provide for a 3-tiered administrative screening. To provide, proporcionar. Okay. How about the word vest? Ooh, did I miss vest? That's a good one. Could you tell me which one we put in, which line vest is in? Vest? I can't find vest. Alien system. I'm number 16. Can we look at the full-blown hearing was necessary to make a determination? No, I don't see vest in there. Okay, we're gonna have to, line 20, delay for the system if every time a delay over abuse. No, I'm looking for the word vest. Vest is on another page. Oh, you guys are ahead of me. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we go on to the next page. Of course, you have to have in your page, I want you to have 13 different things, okay? 13 different scoring units you should already have written down. These should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and get everything before we move on to the next page, okay? All right, we're moving on to page number 4. How about the word respondent? Who can help me out with respondent? Compareciente, solicitante, demandado. Okay, I saw demandado. I want you guys to tell me if you see, if I am not an expert in immigration court. So in immigration court, Janet tells us that it's compareciente. Perfect. And we're talking about context is everything. So this would be compareciente. And this is number 14, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, number 14. You write it on your page. 14, compareciente. Did I spell that right, you guys? I need you to watch out for my spelling here. Very good. Okay, contend. Contend. What do we do with this contend guy? He contends, él alega, él sostiene, él disputa could be because there's a little contention in there. Very good. So I want you to say either disputa or refuta. Okay? I'm going to go with disputa. And it's not a dirty word. Here we go. Now we do 15, disputa. Oops, very good. That the suspension clause, how do we do clause? Clause. Clausula, good job. We're not gonna do that because that's very, very easy. Fact laden. Fact laden judicial review. What is laden? When something is laden, What does that mean? It's not Aladdin. Repleto, lleno. Suficier cargado. Ooh, I like that, Anna. That's nice. Okay, so in this case, we have a judicial review that's fact-laden. So in this case, I like basada en los hechos. Una revisión judicial basada en los hechos, you guys. So we're going to go with 16. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and take this guy and put it over here. Good job. Okay. A review of the negative fear, credible fear determination in that screening process. Congress, however, made it preserved habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is a Latin expression. So we leave it as a Latin expression. But what does it mean? Let's understand the concept of habeas corpus. What is habeas corpus? What is habeas corpus? Habeas corpus, literally, somebody's saying ley de amparo. From what I know, habeas corpus comes from the Latin of there is a body, meaning your body can be literally present in your trial, meaning you have a right to be present in your trial, okay? And within that concept of you have a right to be present in your own trial, which is what the concept of habeas corpus is, there's different things, there's different laws and different grievances that are seen under that, okay? But this is just Latin, so we leave it as is, habeas corpus. And that's going to be our number 17, okay? Good job, you guys. Okay, how about when you tailor something? Tailor something. Somebody saying recurso de amparo. Okay, that's fine. Recurso de amparo, ley de amparo, all those are good. But if you come across a test in which you have a Latin rooted word, you can leave it as is. Okay. Hecho a la medida, adaptado, diseñado, ajustado. Very good. Now let's look at the context. Tailored it to the special circumstances. I like ajustado or adaptado. Tailored it to the special circumstances. Everybody should be writing this down. Ajustado, this is our number 18. Good job. Ajustado a las circunstancias especiales. Very good. We already saw expedited, right? We saw expedited, right? Agilizado. Yes, we did. Okay. Limiting to whether the alien is eligible. Eligible. What do we do with eligible, you guys? Tener derecho, ser elegible, reunir los requisitos, cumplir con los requisitos. Very good. Okay, I've seen ser elegible as well. I usually like to go with like the old sounding Spanish, so I'm going to go with cumplir requisitos. I can't see what I'm writing, thanks to the chat. Requisitos, okay. Requisitos, good job. Removal, we already saw what this was, or whether such an order was entered. Very good. Congress's judgment. What is this judgment here? When Congress makes a judgment. Fallo. Good job. I like working with such brilliant people. 20. Fallo. Okay, fallo, dictamen, judicial, decisión judicial, all of that will work. Go ahead and work with the chat to let your people. Thank you, Zinab, for being so amazing. I just have to take a moment to say that Zinab Coder, I'm so sorry if I pronounce your last name, is an incredible asset to the interpreting world, especially to Arabic interpreters. She has a Facebook post, a Facebook group, which is called Legal and Court Interpretation for Arabic Speakers. So again, Legal and Court Interpretation for Arabic Speakers. She's constantly posting up resources. She's constantly finding ways to make it easier for you guys. I'm gonna, at the end of this session, allow her to speak a little bit. She's offering some workshops that could really, really help Arabic interpreters, okay? Beautiful. So we have judgment, and that approach was necessary for the control of immigration and control of borders, and is entitled. I think we already saw entitled. I don't think we saw entitled. her name is Zenab Coder. And Zenab's last name is, her first name is Z-E-N-A-B. And her last name is K-H-O-U-D-E-R. And I want her to speak a little bit because she's an amazing resources for Arabic interpreters. Okay, so now we're going to go with entitled, tener derecho a, or con derecho, okay? Here we go. This is our number 21. Con derecho, I think this context might be, is entitled con derecho. I think here we more tener derecho. And I misspelled it, of course. Very good, you guys. You see, my father wanted me to take a typing course when I was in high school, and I was very stubborn and I never listened, and now I really wish I had. Okay, here we go. Now we're moving on. Repeatedly said that alien seeking admission is entitled only to the procedures Congress has provided, and it has held, in this case, it has held, okay? There's a law that has held. Okay. Continuado vigente, continuado en vigor. Good job, you guys. This law has held. Continuar vigente. And this is our number 22. Ooh. You see how much I should have listened to my dad when he told me to take that typing course? Vigenerte, okay? Vigente, good job. Okay, here we go. Held for more than 100 years that Congress may vest, here's where vest comes in, you guys, may vest the determination of whether an individual otorgar, fijar, investir. Oh, you know what? This one, I'm gonna look it up. I have so many dictionaries that I love, 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 love. This is one of them, Dennis McKenna's Criminal Court Dictionary. He is amazing. And we're going to look up the word vest in here because I really trust this guy. He's one of my favorite. Vest, V-E-S-T. Vest. Q-R-S. Oh, he doesn't have it. Okay. This is my favorite, one of my favorite dictionaries, Criminal Court Dictionary, okay, by McKenna, Dennis McKenna. He's one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is the all-known Interpreter's Companion. So let's go see what Holly Mickelson has to say about vest. Vest, términos legales. Let's see, V-E-S. And you learn a lot by looking stuff up. Derechos adquiridos, which is vested, may vest the determination. In this case, it doesn't apply. It's a different one. Another dictionary that I love, 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 love is this one. Diccionario de Términos Jurídicos. Okay? By Enrique Alcaraz Baró and Brian Hughes. I love this dictionary. This dictionary is awesome. If you're a nerd for words like me, if you're an interpreter, you should be. You're going to love this dictionary. Vest. V-E. And you go ahead and look it up. Also, those of you who are listening up, go ahead and look it up in word ref. Vest, investir, conferir, conceder, transferir. Vested in possession, vested interest, vested in declaration, vesting deed. Okay, I think in this case is conferir. May vest the determination, conferir. So we're going to go with conferir. I think I heard one of you guys say this one before. Here we go. And
Virginia, we'll post these dictionaries on the blog when the video is ready.
Absolutely, conferir. Very good. Vest the determination. And everybody has access to word ref. Can somebody go ahead and use the chat to put the link to word ref? Word ref is such an awesome, for any language, okay? You just go to wordreference.com, reference, and there it is, Glenda, thank you. And you can adjust it to any language and you can find a lot of good stuff in there. Okay, when an individual alien is excludable in an executive in an executive officer. Indeed, indeed. What do we do with indeed, you guys? Alcaraz Baró Roxy, I love him too. Indeed, de hecho. I like de hecho. I'm gonna go with de hecho. You guys can go with what you think is best. De hecho. Of course I had to misspell it, just to see if you're paying attention. Okay, we move it on over here. De hecho. Good job. Okay, by such an officer acting within his jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is jurisdicción. It's true. So due process. Due process is a very important concept. Due process. El debido proceso. Good job, you guys. I looked it up before we got started. And garantías procesales debidas. In this particular case is we have, indeed, it is said that a determination by such an officer acting within his jurisdiction is due process. So it would be seguir las garantías procesales debidas. Okay, so here we go. This is number 25. 25. Seguir las garantías procesales debidas. Very good, you guys. And that's going to be our number 25. Of course, everyone is taking note of all this good stuff. Okay. I want everybody to go ahead and we are going to make sure that all these terms, you're writing them down one more time. Here we go on this page. 15, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, okay? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Okay, you guys, we're gonna move on to the next one. Here we go. Under this system, an expedited removal order establishes the government's right to detain him. A fortiori. Who has heard this word before? This was a first for me, you guys. A fortiori. Anybody? Oh, there's a spelling error in number 24? Of course there is. De hecho. What's wrong with that one? Number 24. I think we're good at number 25. Oh, number 25. Seguir las garantías procesales bebidas. Ah! So we're not talking about drinking. We're talking about the appropriate or due. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for clarifying that. You see, I got wine on the brain. Okay, seguir las garantías procesales debidas. Thank you very much. Okay, a fortiori. Very good, Ana. Con mayor razón. This was a new term for me. I had never heard it before with con mayor razón. So even more so, something in English, if we understand the concept, it's something like even more so, or because of this, this is even more true. Okay. So a fortiori. Ooh, Baz has the Arabic equivalent in there. Ooh, I like these. Arabic interpreters are very active and very smart. So we're going to go with the Spanish one. And if I'm not mistaken, this is number 26. Yes, because I messed up number 25. Number 26 is con mayor razón. And I hope I spelled that right. Okay, good job. Okay, next one is true that if situation involving who seeks review, negative screening, where he saw screening, notwithstanding. Who can help me out with notwithstanding? This is Latin, so you could leave it in Latin if you wanted to. I liked when I leave things in Latin to know what they mean, but I didn't know what this meant, so I didn't leave it in Latin. Okay? No obstante. Good job, Leda. No obstante. This is going to be my number 27. No obstante. Good job. And of course, you are doing this if you have your printed script, you're doing it on your printed script. If not, you're just doing it on a sheet of paper, and that's perfect. Okay. All right. Now, it's one thing the alien comes and house on protected ground. Protected ground. What is this? Protected ground. Are they talking about a physical space? A protected ground. Causales de protección. I thought it was fundamento de protección. Fundamento de protección. Very good. But somebody said something really interesting over here. Fundamento de protección. Causales. Luz María Beasley. You've heard causales de protección. Could you expand on that, please? Protected ground. Causales o fundamentos. Oh, okay. I'm going to go with fundamentos de protección if it fits as well. And that's going to be our number 28. Good job. Thank you so much for that. 28. Fundamento de protección. And of course, I spelled it wrong just to see if you're paying attention. And we put it over here. Protección. I put the tilde in the wrong place. Here we go. Good job. Okay. Relief. Did I miss relief? Is it before that or after? Ooh, here. So I'm going to have to change the numbering, you guys. Relief is an important one. I've heard amparo and I've heard desagravio. I think in this case, amparo or desagravio work. I'm going to go with amparo. Desagravio is a good one too, but I'm going to go with amparo. Amparo, like the woman's name. A relief. And if you guys can help out the ones that are not doing Spanish, that'd be awesome. So this is going to be my 27. Relief. And this turns into my 28 because I skipped it. And this turns into my 29. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. So an expedited proceedings are okay because they have no right to be here. Okay, we're gonna take it up until here. We're only gonna leave it here because we don't have enough time to do more. And I do want you to pass this through the 3-step method. So what we're going to do now is I want everybody to take your notes and you're going to turn these notes into study cards. So that's how it's going to, this is how it's going to work. Somebody didn't see what I got for 27? Let me go back to that. And then we stop it. 27, relief. Oh, I said relief. That's stupid of me. Amparo. Thank you for watching out for that. Thank you. Amparo. Not saying it in the same language. Good job. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to go ahead and take these notes that you took, and you're going to take a little sheet of paper, a little Post-it note, and you're going to write the word on the front in one language. Then you're going to go ahead and rip that little Post-it note out. You're going to fold it, and in the opposite side, you're going to write it in the target language. So source language in the front, target language in the back. Don't write down the words that you feel comfortable with. Only write down the words that are challenging to you. I don't want you studying stuff that you already know, okay? Only go for the ones that you don't know. I'm going to give you time to go ahead and do this page. Write it in the front of the back card. Write it in the back of the card. When you're finished doing your cards, you're going to use the chat to let me know that you're finished. Here we go. I have some people saying on the chat they can't hear. This is not the time to hear. This is time to take your notes and make sure you create your study cards on the front, the source language term, on the back, the target language term. When you're finished with this page, use the chat so I can go on to the next page. Or if you want to work from your own notes, you can go ahead and do that. All right, you guys. So now we have our vocab, and now we're going to drill that vocab. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys 3 minutes to go ahead and go through these cards. And this is how you're going to be working with these cards. You're going to go ahead and look at the front of the card. You're going to read the term out loud. Without looking at the back, you're going to try to say that term. So if I had here, for example, due process, in this context, we said, seguir las garantías procesales. Then I would flip it over. I would check it if I got it right or wrong. If I got it right, I would put it on my right. If I got it wrong, I would put it on my left. And then once I finish going through all the cards at least once, I'm going to go through the ones that are on my left pile. And I'm going to go ahead repeating the same process with the left pile, the ones I got wrong. I'm going to say the process. I'm going to say the term. For example, in this case, I would say, indeed, de hecho. Once I've interpreted, then I flip it. If I got it right, I put it on the
Virginia,
right.
are you showing something with your cards?
Okay, let me do that. Stop my share. Thank you, Brad.
You will.
So I have my cards. I have them on the front, the source language, on the back, the target language. I read the front. Indeed, I say, de hecho. Then I flip it and I check if I got it right. If I got it right, I'm going to put it on the right pile. I'm going to keep going. Due process, seguir las garantías procesales. If I got it right, I put it on the right. If I got it wrong, I put it on the left. I'm going to go through all my cards until I have gone through all of them. And then I'm going to take my left pile, the ones I got wrong, and I'm going to go through those cards again, putting it on the right and on the left, on the right and on the left, until you have no left pile left. I'm going to let you do this for about 3 to 4 minutes until you feel super, super comfortable with these terms. Okay? Ready, set, go. All right, you guys, use the chat to let me know how you're feeling. Do you feel comfortable? Do you think you can tackle it again? Go ahead and use the chat. Tell me if you feel lucky, punk. Okay, good job. We're going to do this practice again. Okay, we're going to do this practice again. Remember, if there's something you don't know, you're not going to stress over it. You're going to skip it. This is just one scoring unit out of several. I think we have almost 30, if not 30. Then don't worry about it. You're just going to interpret. I want you to get your voice recorder ready. Okay, get your voice recorder. I want you to practice and feel comfortable. Okay, try to do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable. If you need to take off your shoes, do that. If you need to sit up, sit down, stand up, whatever you need to do, make yourself comfortable to listen to this practice. You're going to get your voice recorder ready. Okay, here we go. Brad, could you share the practice with us? Brad is going to go ahead and share the practice. It's going to be a little slowed down. We're going to tell you when to start recording. Begin recording. 1, 2, 3.
Next,
Now.
in case 19161, the Department of Homeland Security versus Throssingum. Mr. Needler.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court. Congress established the expedited removal system in 1996 for aliens who arrive at our borders or enter illegally and have no entry documents. Such aliens are clearly inadmissible and have no right to be in this country. Congress reasonably concluded that a full-blown removal hearing was not necessary to make that determination. Congress was also concerned, however, about the possibility for delay and abuse of the asylum system if every time such a clearly inadmissible alien sought asylum. What it did then was to provide for a 3-tiered administrative screening system to first determine whether the alien had a credible fear of persecution. Respondent contends that the suspension clause requires a fact-laden judicial review of the credible fear determination made in that screening process. Congress, however, while it preserved habeas corpus, tailored it to the special circumstances of expedited removal by limiting it to whether the alien is eligible for expedited removal and whether such an order was entered. Congress's judgment that approach was necessary for the control of immigration and control of the borders is entitled to great weight, and it is consistent with the suspension clause. First, Congress has repeatedly said that an alien seeking admission is entitled only to the procedures Congress has provided. And it is held for more than 100 years that Congress may vest the determination of whether an individual alien is excludable in an executive officer. Indeed, it said that a determination by such an officer acting within his jurisdiction is due process for purposes of the Constitution. And when such an order is issued under this system, that expedited removal order establishes the government's right to detain him. A fortiori, that is true when you have a situation involving an inadmissible alien who seeks review of a negative screening determination for possible relief from removal, notwithstanding his inadmissibility.
Mr. Needler, it's one thing when an alien comes and has no protected ground to stay here. There's no legal right to stay. And so expedited proceedings are okay because they have no right to be here.
Good job, you guys. Use the chat to let me know how that went. Now that we've learned the vocab, how did you feel? Was it different from the first time? Much better, much better. So that's what happens when you do the 3-step method, when you don't just do the blind runs. Now we're going to go ahead and check our practice. I have to warn you, we're going to be running about 10 to 15 minutes overtime today. So for those of you who have to go, don't worry, you can watch the video. For those of you who want to stay, we're going to correct the practice and we're going to give you some tips to continue studying. Okay, here we go. Let's check out the practice. Now I want you to go ahead and mark what you got right and what you got wrong. For those of you who were able to access the PDF file and printed it and you're working with it on your own, beautiful. You don't need me, you don't need to wait on me, okay? For those of you who are working with my screen, you're going to go ahead and do what we've done before. you're going to go ahead and play your recording, follow along. Every time you see a scoring unit, you're going to pause your recording after you heard yourself. So first you're going to listen to what you said. Then you're going to pause your recording, and then you're going to see if you said this. If you did say this, you're going to continue playing it. If you didn't say this, you're going to go ahead and write on a piece of paper 1X. That means you got it wrong. And then move on. Keep playing it. Then you're going to keep playing it, keep playing it, keep playing it until you come to the word expedited. First, you're going to listen to what you said. First, you listen to your own interpretation. Once you've heard what you said, then you're going to pause your recording and you're going to say number 2, if I got it right or if I got it wrong. If I said this, I got it right. If I didn't say this, I got it wrong. So I'm going to write number 2, X or check. And you're going to continue doing this. When you're finished with these first 10, you're going to use the chat to let me know that you're done. Go ahead and play your recording, compare it to the text, and check what you got right and what you got wrong. So at the end, I should see 1X, 2, check, 3X, 4X. I want to see what you got right and wrong at the end. Write it down. Here we go. All right, you guys, I think most of you are done. So let's go ahead and do our math now. This is one of the most important moments. This is one of the things that really inspired me to go ahead and create this method because I wanted to get an actual numerical score to see how I was doing. So let's go ahead and do our math. So in total, we have 29 scoring units. So whatever amount of scoring units you got right, let's say you got 3 wrong. So that's 26 over 29. I want you to go ahead and divide 26 into 29 and tell me what that is. Go ahead and tell me your scores. How did it go? Let's get an actual numerical score. Do the math. 96%, Janet, good job. What else do we have? 76, that's good. There's room for improvement, but that's very good. This might not be the vocabulary you're used to. 93%, good job. Excellent. Okay, now, how was the first time, which was the blind run, compared to this time where we already had practiced all the vocab and done all this thing? How did you feel the first time till night and day? Good job, night and day. Many of you said night and day, the exact same expression. So this is the importance of doing the 3-step method. Okay, it's not just a matter of willy-nilly, let me go ahead and just do blind runs and blind runs and blind runs. That's not what we want. What we want is for you to do the actual practice. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Beautiful. So we did the research of the vocab, and then the 3-step method, we applied it, we drilled the vocab, we did the interpretation, and we breathed before ahead of time, and we did the evaluation. Okay, we're going to use the transcript. When you work on your own, you're going to use the transcript, and you're going to hit and circle whatever you don't know, and you're going to write it on the transcript. So when you do step 3 and you listen to yourself, you can go ahead and compare it to the transcript, and you can go ahead and grade it. Okay, now when you're grading your interpretation, you're going to grade it correct, incorrect, or research. Correct is if what you said is what you had written down. Incorrect is you didn't say anything, or you said something different and you know is wrong. Research is maybe you said something different, but it might be right. So you give yourself the chance to look it up. Once you look it up, then you decide if it's right or wrong, and then you calculate your score. You see how many scoring units did I have? How many scorings did I get right? So the amount I got right divided into the total scoring units is going to give you a score. It's very important to get a numerical score, to take it to the full process so you know exactly how well you did and not delude yourself thinking, oh, I did great, but I don't know if it was a 60 or a 99, okay? Let's recap how to study with your own material. First of all, you're going to pick a material that has audio and transcript. It's very important that it have audio and transcript. If you can find material that has audio and transcripts in both languages, even better. So if it has the English transcript and the Spanish transcript, or the English transcript and the Arabic transcript, even better, because that helps your research. Then you're going to do a blind run. Okay, you're going to go ahead and go for it. If you want to slow it down, you use the technology we gave you. Then you're going to take your transcript and print it, and you're going to skim it for unknown vocab. Then you're going to research that vocabulary in a reputable source. Jot down 1 target language equivalence on the sides of the transcript. We don't want you to get overwhelmed. Just 1 target language equivalent. Don't try to learn them all in one sitting. And then you're going to follow the 3 steps. First, you drill the vocab with these cards. Then you interpret and voice record. And then you compare your audio with the transcript. That's your grading process. Okay? The 3-step method lets you squeeze every last drop out of each interpreting practice. You saw the difference of doing a blind run and then passing it through the 3-step method. What a drastic difference it made. So I don't want you to cheat yourself, whether you're working with our material or you're working on your own material. Go ahead and pass it through the 3-step process, preceding it with a blind run. So I'm going to go back here. I want you guys to take a screenshot, because if you're not working with our material, this is going to be your Coca-Cola formula. So go ahead and take a screenshot of this. These are the steps you're going to follow if you're not working with our materials. Of course, if you're working with our materials, you start from step number 5, drilling the vocab, interpreting and voice recording, and then grading. Okay, now Some tips. You do step 1 on the go. So you sit down and you research the vocab. First, you go ahead and do your blind run and you check out how you did. You listen to your blind run as you compare it to the transcript. Then you go ahead and print the transcript and check out which vocab you need. And then you go ahead and get your vocab. You're going to carry your cards with you, and throughout the day, you're going to study. Study throughout the day. Carry your materials with you and drill the vocab. Practice any chance you get. If you're waiting in line at a bank, if you're right now, most of us are home, but if you know, just practice throughout the day. You can create audio drills too. You do the source language term, then a silence, then the target language term, and listen throughout the day. You'll be amazed at how much extra time opens up when you study in your commute, in your lunch and breaks, in your wait time. Once you do the vocabulary from step 1, when it's in the bag, you're going to love the results when you sit down in steps 2 and 3. So you're going to love your performance if you first do step 1, then 2 and 3, preceded by the blind run. When it comes to step 2, repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay? I want you to repeat step 2 many times until you feel comfortable with it, until you feel like, you know what, I can't improve my performance anymore. That was awesome. That was awesome. And I'm not going to be able to top that. So this is the one I'm going to check. Do step 2 repeatedly. If you're working with our material, of course, you're going to have slow versions and faster versions, and you're going to have consec versions and simul versions. If you're working with your own material and you want to do the consecutive one, go ahead and get a study buddy and have them be your DJ. Stop the pause when you put your hand up when you've had enough. And then you render, and then they play again, and then you stop and play. And they're going to be your DJ working with the sound system. So you get chunks that are big enough for you, that are not too much for you. If you want to work with our materials, we have an Introduction to Legal Interpreting program, which is awesome because it includes an introduction to court interpretation to get all the fundamental concepts, and it teaches you consecutive interpretation, and then it moves on to the actual interpreting practices. We take you from the very beginner to become a pro. We also have State Court Interpreting Oral Certification Training Program. We have a training program for people who are preparing for the federal. We have note-taking tools, we have a manual, we have an app, and we have a complex system, a very detailed, comprehensive system to get your note-taking to the next level and get you to really have awesome, awesome consecutive interpretation skills. We also have a site translation program, and we have continuing ed credits for those of you who are getting your continuing education program. Check us out, check our website. We have we're putting up constant information in our blog. We also have a Facebook group, which is called Court Interpreting Oral Exam Training. Check us out on Facebook. These are all places where we post free stuff. And push yourself. Before we finish, I want to do 2 things. I want Brad to share one of our programs with us. And I also want to give Zainab an opportunity to speak because she's going to be doing something really cool soon. Okay?
Okay, let me first, I have Tony Tony, you there?
Yes, Brad, I am.
Would you like to make an announcement on what you and Zainab are going to be doing? And then,
Wow. Well, thank you so much again, Brad and Virginia, for this opportunity. And I just want to say thank you for this incredible opportunity that we've had to learn together with you. And we're so grateful to you. So Zainab,
thank you for being here, Tony. Tony's doing an awesome new thing for you guys. So check out what Tony's going to be doing soon, Wednesday, tomorrow.
Yes, thank you so much, Virginia. So for anybody that's interested, I put up my email address a couple of times here for everybody. It's just tbacoach1@gmail.com. So I'm setting up a meeting again via Zoom just to focus exclusively on going into greater detail about the team-based approach to achieving certification goals. And we have a number of Arabic interpreters that will be joining us because I'm very excited to announce that Zainab Kauder is going to be joining us. She's going to be bringing all of her expertise, training, and background based on her experiences in achieving her certification goals. So we're going to be combining forces then to help our Arabic interpreters. And then certainly the team-based approach is an approach that whatever your language combination that you can benefit from. So simply by participating, you'll be more informed about the team-based approach. It's not something that you have to commit to joining or to commit yourself to doing. With me or with Zainab, it's something that you can do on your own, or again, if you want some more directed guidance, then I'd be honored to serve in that role as well. So thanks again, and I'm not sure if Zainab also now would like to say something.
Zanab is,
Yes.
if you're
I'm ready.
here, Zanab, you can speak.
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud
For
and
this
clear.
Awesome opportunity to join and speak a little bit about myself. You've been great support, and thank you, Tony. I had to reach out to all my Spanish trainers to achieve my goals, and my first boot camp with Virginia about note taking was one of the best that helped me pass my executive. And I'm very honored and privileged to know you, Virginia, and Brad, and Tony, and other great interpreters that helped me to achieve my goal. And I wanted to help my colleagues achieve their goals by not like, I didn't want them to take the hard road that I took. It took me at least 5 years and hundreds of dollars I spent on training just to get what I wanted, because I didn't have any Arabic coaches or trainers that was able to help us through this exam. So I'm gonna, after achieving my goal and being certified now in Arizona, Illinois, I'm trying to help my colleagues, and I'm teaming with Tony. Tomorrow we're gonna be having a Zoom for the team approach, and on the May 30th, there will be also a few sessions with Edgar Hidalgo. We're gonna start with simultaneous. You can also, of course, Virginia is always helping. I don't need to mention that. She is one of our biggest supporters. You can always look for resources on my Facebook page, Legal and Court Interpretation for Arabic speakers. And if you have any questions, tomorrow we can answer your questions.
That's awesome, Zainab.
Thank
Just
you,
a few.
thank you.
So this is a free webinar that you're teaching tomorrow. What is the time? Pacific Standard Time?
Yes, it's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And
4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And how do people sign up? How do they attend?
that would be just by sending me an email to TBA Coach, and I'm going to put it up again, tbacoach1@gmail.com.
And we'll post it too, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, Tony will be leading that one. I will be the support, the Arabic support.
Yes.
So, yeah. that
This
would be
is an
great.
excellent opportunity, you guys. Both Tony and Zainab are incredible people. They're devoting their time to give you free resources, to give you opportunities to go to the next level. They just want to help people have an easier time than they had, and they do such beautiful work for the community. So I really, really urge you guys to attend. It's not just for Arabic interpreting. Arabic interpreters are welcome, but it's not just for Arabic interpreters. Is that right, Tony?
That's right. All language combinations are welcome. So we have we already have about 20, maybe a little over 20 interpreters that have signed up. We have a good number of Arabic interpreters, which I'm excited about, thanks to the presence of Zainab. We have Spanish. We have some Mandarin interpreters as well. So we are very well represented. And by the way, I should say that I do have 10 success stories that I can brag about in terms of just team colleagues that have worked with me to achieve their certification goals, or people that have chosen to hire me as a coach and who've also achieved their certification goals, including state and federal certification. So
awesome. 10 people who passed thanks to that team-based approach. And how long will the session be, Tony?
the session is going to last approximately 2 hours.
Okay, from 4 to 6 Pacific Standard Time.
Exactly. We'll
Awesome. You guys, I definitely urge you to attend. I'm sure it's going to be super, super useful. We're going to be there as well. And finally, thank you so much, Zainab and Tony, for putting this together.
Virginia.
You guys are so amazing. The last thing I want to do is I want Brad to go ahead and show us one of our labs. We're going to go ahead. People are asking, where do they sign up? You're going to go ahead and email Tony. Again, I'm going to go ahead and copy this.
And we'll send it in a follow-up email.
The follow-up email will have it, so you'll have it again. But
Oh, on our blog it'll be. When we post
here
the
we go,
video.
tbcoach1@gmail.com. Before we leave, I want to just show you guys what we're doing. If you're working with our material, you have everything worked out. You don't have to go ahead and research the vocab. We offer slides. We offer audio, we offer target practices, we offer drills. These are all the different resources you have to drill the vocabulary. The vocabulary is already going to be voice recorded for you. So it's great for multitasking. For those people who are washing dishes, walking their dog, the audio is great. The slides is also a great resource. You can go ahead and go through each slide, and it has a sentence that includes it. So you can go ahead and practice with a context, okay? And you can go ahead and be familiar with the words. Then we have drills that are very much fun. Our students like the drills a lot because you can play different games. You can play with flashcards. You can play memory game. You can do a quiz. You can match up different things. And finally, we have our target practice, which allows you just to zone in on the terms that you think need work and ignore the rest of the terms. So it's very targeted. Then we have the interpretation in the consecutive mode, decelerated and normal. And we also have it in the simultaneous mode at different speeds. Here we have at 120, 140, 160, so you can practice it repeatedly. And finally, we have step number 3, which lets you compare what you interpreted to the terms. And at the end, you're going to get a score. So that at the end, you're going to get an actual certificate telling you your score. Awesome. So now let me go ahead and share the last part of my presentation with you guys, and I'll let you go. I promise that if this is a time where you should be pushing, if you push yourself, you're going to get awesome results. Whether you're working with us or you're working on your own, ask yourself, do I have extra time now? And are my finances in order? Usually, if you answer those 2 questions affirmatively, it's time to push yourself and take advantage of this time, whether it's with us or by yourself, okay? You're going to love the results that you get. If the time is right. If the time is not right, be generous with yourself, be kind to yourself, and the time will come where you'll be able to train. Interpret Train wishes you great success in your quest to become the best interpreter you can be. You guys have been an awesome, awesome group. This is our last session. We really, truly appreciate you being here. I have to share with you guys that I feel very blessed to have so many people to being receptive and open to what we have to offer. And I thank you once again for being here for us. We really appreciate you guys. Make sure you go ahead and be good to yourself, practice if this is a good time, and let us know if there's any way we can support your goals. Okay? Have a beautiful evening. Thank you for those of you who stayed a little extra. Ooh, 25 minutes extra. Be good to yourself, stay safe, and we look forward to supporting your dreams in any which way we can. Bye, everyone. Awesome work.